help rank up my channel. Again, I'm going to be talking about the CW fires the Flash actor, Hartley Sawyer, for derogatory remarks. The reason I'm talking about this again, there were some jokes that I didn't actually cover in the previous video. I thought he only made the jokes that I covered in that video. However, I still want to talk about how it is insane. They are jokes. They are literally meant to not be taken serious. That's what a joke is. And this man lost his job because of it. It's so insane. Imagine working with this guy day in and day out, and then he loses his job because something he said years ago. And you've grown to know this guy and work with him almost 24/7, because that's how TV series work. They're around each other all the time, constantly filming. They are pretty much their only friends. That's their life. When you're on a TV series, your life is that TV series. So imagine somebody you work closely with, somebody you probably bonded with and all that, just abruptly canceled, abruptly fired because something he said years ago. When he it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think there is a serious problem with this type of stuff. I don't know how it persists or how it continues, why people allow this. But comedies, much like freedom of speech, it's a dying art form. Freedom of speech isn't what it used to be. This isn't America anymore. Comedy's dead. Comedy is a dying art form. Now, a lot of people have commented that they checked out way before this, so it doesn't bother them. But I think it should bother everyone that somebody's able to get you fired for something you said years ago that was a joke. Meanwhile, in Hollywood, they say a lot of serious, overtly racist stuff about white people all the time, and sexist stuff towards men all the time, in a very serious tone. This guy was actually just joking about the things he was saying, and that's obvious. But the mob comes and gets him canceled for something less offensive than what most of Hollywood does, because he made jokes that weren't appealing to the agenda, the overwhelming one-sided narrative of Hollywood. He got silenced, and anybody that supports that, I don't care if his words offended you or anything, anybody that supports that is anti-American, and they just need to get the hell out of here and go somewhere else. Seriously, I don't care if these jokes offend you. Like all the stuff that they constantly, all the racist stuff they say about white people all the time in Hollywood, that's pretty offensive to a lot of people. But do we want them silenced? They have freedom of speech, man. I don't like the things they say, and I wish they would shut up, but I'm not gonna advocate for them to be silenced. It's gotten pretty ridiculous that this routinely happens again and again. Society is so damn sensitive these days. They're not really even sensitive. They're not really offended. If you're really offended by this, then go cry in a pillow because you're a punk bitch. So, but seriously, man, who goes through the effort to dig up tweets from years ago? That's a person that has the sole intent on doing something that's actually hateful, something that's actually disgusting. To waste your life scrolling through people's tweets just from years ago just to find something so you can ruin them because you're jealous of their success. Why don't you put less time into digging up tweets and actually go try to do something successful yourself? So we're going to talk a little bit more about this Hartley Sawyer. And what's bad is there are a lot of YouTube channels that favor the CW shows. They back them 100%. They watch them regularly. Even when the shows decline, they still do routine videos on them and all that. And I've actually seen some of them say that, oh yeah, that, well, this is warranted. That this guy, what this guy did was wrong. So this is justice, or that this wasn't unexpected or shocking. It should be shocking that people can just be fired for things they said years ago. Things that weren't meant to be taken serious in the first place. And if you really like this show, you would probably be backing this guy instead of being like, oh yeah, well, he deserved it, it's justified and all that. If you really like this show, you would be backing this guy up. You would be saying that he doesn't deserve this. However, the CW actor Hartley, who was fired, Sawyer's firing comes from a tweet, and here's all the stuff that he actually said. I'm not gonna pull it up because I probably can't say some of it on YouTube. I don't know, but I'm not monetized anyway, so what does it matter? In one of his tweets, he talked about enjoyed a secret boob viewing at audition day. And the most offensive one is probably when he talks about cutting off a homeless woman's boobs. See, as a lad, one of my favorite activities was kidnapping homeless women and cutting off their boobs. But is he serious? No, he's not serious. Is it offensive? Maybe. But this is America. We have freedom of speech. Why would you want a man fired? So out at dinner, and just expose myself as a racist again. And this is what people are really offended by, the racist comments. If this guy's joking about it, he's not really racist. But, of course, he tried to apologize, he bent the knee, and they tried to make it sound like this is something so terrible. Oh my God, feelings were hurt. But were they really? Because whoever did this, the people that usually do this, they just want to see somebody fired, somebody that's actually having success, whereas they're spending all their times trying to find their tweets to get them canceled, to ruin their livelihood. That's hate right there. That's real hate. So, in a joint statement to the Hollywood Reporter from CW Berlanti Productions and all that, they went on to say that he wouldn't be returning and all that. They made all these ridiculous apologies and made it sound like it was so serious, like it was a hate crime, whatever the hell that is. And they just go on and go on, sounding so sensitive and making it sound so serious. Wallace continued, because at present our country still accepts and protects the continual harassment, unconscious or otherwise, terrorizing and brutalizing of black and brown people. It's so stupid. What is this garbage society that we live in where people are so offended? And yet racism you can always say the most racist, offensive things imaginable about white people, especially white males. But jokes about women or people of other race, they're not tolerated. They're just the worst thing you can imagine. They make this guy sound like a serial rapist or murderer with the way they talk so seriously about it. That's why our country is standing up once again, shouting enough and taking to the streets to bring active change. What change are you really going to bring, huh? Are you going to get rid of all police? Are you going to stop all racism? No, you can't stop all racism unless everybody thinks the exact same. Because there are racist people out there, but you know what? Racism is an individual's trait. It's not the trait of an entire race. It's not the trait of an entire gender. You can never weed out this thing. Never. So all this protesting and stuff, what's it really gonna change? What's it really gonna change? Ask yourself that. I too am committed to bringing permanent change to the work environment here on The Flash. Yes, this is a family show, but it's for all families that include. This has nothing to do with black and brown people. And the stuff they say, it just sounds so racist in itself. It then wrote, in order to facilitate this, I will continue to find black and brown writers, directors, actors, and producers of all genders to help tell Flash stories. So you're going to racially segregate. Their stories are part of the American narrative too, and must be heard. And the more you hear and see us, the more you will begin to recognize one simple fact. Who doesn't recognize that people of other races are human beings too? I think even racists recognize that people of other races are human beings too. So, Wallace continued, to those who still aren't sure why so many Americans have taken to the streets to make their voices known, I ask you to consider this every time a black or brown life is harassed, harmed, or murdered, as in case of George Floyd. And he goes on to mention other names. But you know what? Bad stuff happens to people of all races all the time. All the time. And racism comes from black and Mexican people too. So I don't know why we're living in this weird, deranged fantasy where and Black Lives Matter is guilty of a lot of hatred, a lot of hateful acts, a lot of racist acts. That group in particular is responsible for a lot of stuff. Why we're over here pretending they're not. He concluded murder is not democracy. Systematic and institutional white privilege is not equality. There is no such thing as white privilege. There is none. There is none at all. God, suppressing the free press with violence is not liberty. Oh God, this stuff is so stupid. So stupid. Anybody that backs this play, you're probably the problem. You really are. Anybody that backs their play, you're probably the problem. This cancel culture stuff helps no one. People being censored, fired for jokes, things that aren't meant to be taken serious in the first place. That's part of the problem. And this stuff just goes on and on. God, the pandering makes me never want to watch The Flash again. Seriously. So this morning, many of you learned that Hartley Sawyer will not be returning for season 7 concerning his social media tweets. They broke my heart and made me mad as hell. And they're indicative of a large problem in our country. Your actions right here are indicative of a large problem in our country. What you're doing right here is a bigger problem in our country. So because at present our country still accepts and protects the continual harassment, and it goes on to say the same crap. It says, I too am committed to bringing permanent change. That's all the same shit that was up there, but all this stuff is just stupid. The tweets in question are from before Sawyer's time on The Flash, with many of them dated between 2011 and 2014. So, look, he got fired for things he didn't even say when he was a part of this show that's supposed to be family entertainment. You're gonna sit here and act like all the actors and all the writers and directors on Flash don't do anything behind closed doors that are offensive or anything, because that's pretty much what you have to do if you're backing this play, because Sawyer didn't do these things while he's actually on the show. So Twitter uses, let's see, Yeah, they shared a number of tweets, blah, blah, blah. Goes on to say some of his jokes. If I had a wife, I would beat the hell out of her tonight. LOL. It's a joke. Obviously, it's a joke. You may not like the joke, but look the other way, or find somebody else. If you don't like the guy's jokes, you don't like the sense of humor, then it's not your kind of comedy, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the gist of it. You can't expect people to change and bend to your will to please you. You can't expect them to be exactly what you expect just because you don't like it. And still another, he wrote, out at dinner tonight and just exposed myself as a racist again. Another reads, the only thing stopping me from doing mildly racist tweets is the knowledge Al Sharpton would never stop complaining about me. These things are pretty funny. I mean, they're not really laugh out loud slapstick funny, but they're good for a chuckle if you're not a sensitive ass sissy. And it just goes on to talk about his following a series of tweets referencing assault, misogyny, homophobic slurs, and racism. God. Social woke girl shared some others. The fact that Candace Patton has to work around people like Hartley and Sawyer and Danielle Panabaker is awful. Also, drop the strong black woman tropes in the writing. Jesus Christ. It just goes on and on. And he even himself, sadly, even himself has to come out and say, my words, irrelevant of being meant with intent of humor, were hurtful and unacceptable. I am ashamed I was capable of these really horrible attempts to get attention at the time. I regret them deeply. There's nothing to regret, dude. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The people that got him fired should be ashamed of themselves because they're so pathetic they gotta spend all their time digging up tweets from years ago to ruin a man's livelihood and probably his entire future over jokes. This was not acceptable behavior. These were words I threw out at a time with no thought or recognition of the harm my words could do. They're words. What harm are they doing? It's not like you were advocating for violence. It's not like you were inciting violence. Or it's not like you were telling people to go out and be sexist or racist or doing anything of that matter. He then added, I am incredibly sorry, ashamed, and disappointed in myself. My ignorance back then. I want to be very clear, this is not reflective of what I think or who I am now. Which is obvious because the guy made these tweets before he was even part of the Flash. So years ago, thanks to my friends and experiences who helped me to open up my eyes, I began my journey into becoming a more responsible adult in terms of what I say and what I do, and beyond. I've largely kept that journey private, and this is another way that I have let so many down. I still have work to do. Jesus Christ. Just stop pandering to these people. Stop apologizing to these people. They don't deserve your apologies or anything. You owe them nothing. Finally, he concluded, but I define myself now does not take away the impact of how I define myself today, does not take away the impact of my words or my responsibility for them. Sure it does. He says, I'm very sorry. I'm not here to make excuses, blah, blah, blah. It's terrible that people always come and they bow down to people and kneel to them and try to appease them when they're out to destroy you, and that's it. Why do you care? They're out to destroy you. These people that incite this cancel culture, they are out to destroy people. They are filled with hate, and that's all they want is destruction. Miserable people. So at the end, Sawyer shared an image of his Twitter to Instagram where he wrote, "I am white. I have white privilege. For too long have I used my platform to advocate for POC. I apologize to all my brothers and sisters." So, he had to come out and do all this, which makes me done with him. And it's really pathetic that these people always got to say they have white privilege. You don't, man. You don't. people that keep on acting like this myth exists, you're a problem. You're a problem for the rest of us white people that don't have all these riches and huge platforms and all this nonsense. There's no such thing as white privilege. There's none at all. And all the black people that actually believe that, or that push that narrative, they're racist themselves. They are racist. Black people can be racist. So the burden cannot just be on the backs of black Americans to deal with it. It's so stupid. Let's get down to the comments section, because there's got to be people that think this is stupid. If you don't think this is stupid, I don't know what kind of deranged individual you are. I'm glad these woke white warriors ignore how incredibly racist blacks and Latinos are to each other. Wow, thank you, Purple Snow. Purple Cupcake, I quit watching by season 3 when they started to go all SJW crap. After season 1, though, it just went downhill from there. I tend to agree. The first 2 seasons I thought were pretty good, but the show has gone downhill. I do think that Sawyer was pretty good at an elongated man. At first I wasn't on board with the elongated man, but he got better over time. And a lot of the show was invested in plots and things going on with him. Now they're just going to be abruptly dropped. So it's going to be very weird for anybody that watched that show routinely that he's just abruptly gone when there was so much built into him. And Flash hasn't been around as much as he used to on the show. So it's going to be a very disjointed feeling. The next one, Adam Jensen. Some of those jokes were pretty tasteless, but Ralph was one of the best parts of that show. The addition of more superheroes to Team Flash was a good idea. The show will suffer now because of it. Absolutely agree. His jokes were hilarious. That Chad energy too much for you? They'll just replace him with a POC. Yeah, they will. They will. And just like that, poof. The only reason to watch The Flash finished. That anyone still cares about or uses Twitter amazes me. Has Twitter ever improved anyone's life or career? It seems like career suicide to use. One thing is certain, I won't be returning for the season 7 of Flash either. It's produced by woke garbage and is very badly written. The fascism. Hey, white man. The rules are for 3, but not for me. Yeah, really weird how you can chokeslam a fan and nothing happens because you are part of the long-nosed tribe. Well, I don't think that was a serious thing with Ezra Miller, or if it was. It's just really weird when you watch that footage. It just doesn't seem weird, but I haven't really followed up on it. Because I can't stand Ezra Miller, and I don't want to spend that much time looking into him or that. These actors pretend in a world where a murderer like Captain Cold can be forgiven and his past ignored, but would never allow someone young and sensitive and stupid to mature and redeem themselves. That right there from Orange Controller is a perfect comment. That right there. Nope, Grant Gustin already threw him under the bus. Yeah, see, this is another reason why I think I'm just done with Flash, because Grant Gustin, I really liked him as Barry Allen and all that, but if he's just going to throw a friend under the bus like that, what does that say about you, dude? What does that say about you? This was stuff from years ago, stuff that he wasn't even doing when he was on the show, or for the length of time that he's known you. You're just gonna... So the stuff he said wasn't nearly as bad as the stuff James Gunn said. Exactly. And James Gunn is doing multiple comic book movies. But that's okay, because he's on that side of the agenda, on that side of the narrative. That's how that goes. Funny how Robert Downey Jr. got through 10 MCU movies, and his blackface in Tropic Thunder never seemed to bother them. There's more comments. I'm pretty sure they're great, that this video is going on long enough. Comment down below. Tell me all about how much you hate cancel culture. Or if you're one of those people that think that this is okay, comment down below. Please justify to me how digging up old tweets on people and canceling them is in any way, shape, or form justified, especially when they are jokes that have harmless intent in the first place. Whereas people in Hollywood always say all kinds of racist, horrible stuff towards white people that nothing happens to them. So, like, subscribe, share. Big Goodwin here. Eventually we will, but unfortunately we're still dealing with all this crap. Stay awesome. Rock on.